Here he is. Let's go there now.
I acknowledge the traditional owners, the Ngunnawal people on whose land this great house stands, and I equally acknowledge their elders, past and present, and I want to personally thank Matilda House for the welcome to country. I also acknowledge the Noongar people of Western Australia and my elders, past and present. Their wisdom and guidance ensured that our culture, language and history has endured for 40,000 years and remains vibrant and alive today. The decisions we make determine our destiny, and the choices we make shape our personal future. Mr. Speaker, it is an enormous honour that the electors of Hasluck have bestowed upon me by electing me as their representative for this term of Parliament. Only 1,093 people have been privileged to be a member of the House of Representatives. It is with deep and mixed emotion that I, as an Aboriginal man with Noongar, Yamatji and Wongai heritage, stand before you and the members of the House of Representatives as an equal. I want to reflect these feelings and sentiments so eloquently put by the two previous Aboriginal senators, Neville Bonner and Aidan Ridgway, in their maiden speeches. In Senator Neville Bonner's powerful first speech on September 8, 1971, he encapsulated the feelings that I am experiencing today. Equally, Senator Aidan Ridgway, in his speech 28 years after Senator Neville Bonner's speech, also outlined the enormity of the task that I assume as a mantle of responsibility to represent the people of Hasluck and to advocate for Indigenous Australians. Regretfully, 39 years later, I stand here and the same principles and ideals still apply. Not a great deal has changed significantly. Mr. Speaker, Hasluck covers an area of approximately 227 square kilometres. It is the home to over 93,000 residents and includes the city of Gosnells, the western portion of the Shire of Kalamunda and the parts of the Shire of Mundaring and the city of Swan. It is geographically and economically diverse and includes a range of industries including retail, transport and service industries, and some light industries such as the coal group and Barminco, market gardens and vineyards such as the Sandalford Winery. Rotary has an expression of service above self, and it is my intention that I serve the constituents of Hasluck by fighting for better outcomes that positively impact on their everyday life. The decision of the Hasluck electors has immortalised them for creating a historic moment in Australia's history by electing the first Aboriginal member for the House of Representatives. Researchers in the future will analyse the decision made by the people of Hasluck on August 21, 2010. What they're likely to find is that the personal and professional qualities of the candidate was the reason for their decision. I am fortunate that I have been elected as the member for Hasluck in Western Australia for a range of reasons, but more importantly because the seat is named after a man who devoted his life to public office and the matters that he sought to right. Sir Paul Hasluck entered federal politics in 1941 as the Liberal member for Curtin until 1969 and served as Minister for Territories, Defence and External Affairs. He served as a diplomat, Cabinet Minister and was the first West Australian-born Governor-General of Australia. In reading an extract of his from the House of Representatives parliamentary debate, I was struck by a couple of salient points that remain equally important today. Sir Paul Hasluck stated that the foundations of our policy are two principles, being equality of opportunity and that there should be no division into classes, but that men should stand on their own. There is no one-size-fits-all solution to deal with any social issue. Rather, we should look at the individual needs of the person, the family and the community. For example, the needs of the Gosnells residents differ from the needs of the Kalamunda residents in my electorate. I want no less for the electors of Hasluck, the people of Western Australia and Australian society as we become immersed within a global economy. I want to achieve changes and outcomes, as I'm sure that you all equally desire, that is inclusive, because if we don't, then we have failed those who have elected us. Mr. Speaker, I am the oldest child of Don and Mona Wyatt, who raised 10 children. My father served in the RAAF towards the end of World War II as a driver and left to work for the West Australian Government Railways, where he worked and ended his career as a railway ganger. In 1972, when I graduated from Teachers College, my first pay was more than what my father was earning towards the end of his career. My mother was one of the stolen generation and spent her childhood years in Roland's Mission near Bunbury in Western Australia. As a child, I used to listen to the stories shared between my mother and her brothers and sisters about growing up in the respective missions they were sent to. They reminisced about the people they grew up with outside of their own families and the family connections they re-established after leaving the mission. I often wondered about the experiences that remained locked away in their memories and not talked about. What I found even more fascinating was the blurring of the lines between real family and many others who were accepted as family, because they had shared a significant part of their childhood together in the mission. We all have vivid recollections around the way things were, but as children we didn't comprehend the significance of many actions until much later, when we were more capable of understanding the reality of life my mother experienced while she was in Roland's Mission and later as a domestic worker. My parents substantiated this when I was much older, and the missing pieces were gained through reading the numerous entries, correspondence and the field officer's reports in my mother's Native Welfare Department file. It gave us an inkling into the challenges that she faced as a child and later as an adolescent woman when she was sent out to work. The letters from her parents, or the entries made about parental contact over a period of time, clearly established the fact that her parents had not relinquished their parental rights. The apology to the stolen generation has been a powerful instrument in the healing of both our people and our nation. The apology was acknowledged and received in the spirit for which it was offered. When the former Prime Minister delivered the apology on the 13th of February 2008 in this chamber, I shed tears for my mother and her siblings. My mother and her siblings, along with many others, did not live to hear the words delivered in the apology, which would have meant a great deal to them individually. I felt a sense of relief that the pain of the past had been acknowledged and the healing could begin. Mr. Speaker, at that point the standing orders prevented an Indigenous response. On behalf of my mother, her siblings and all Indigenous Australians, I, as an Aboriginal voice in this chamber, say thank you for the apology delivered in the Federal Parliament, and I thank the Honourable Kevin Rudd for honouring his commitment to the stolen generation. I hope that all governments continue to embrace new solutions to enduring problems where old approaches have failed and where enduring approaches need to change, where the future we all influence is based on mutual respect, mutual resolve and mutual responsibility. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and agencies of government need to jettison the old mindsets that embody Indigenous Australians as passive recipients of government programs and services. Instead, to truly regard people as equals and allow them to be equal partners in developing their solutions. Governments must allow information to be shared so that an informed consent decision-making process is enabled. If change is to occur and become embedded and sustained, then all must be equal and active partners in all facets of planning, implementation and accountability, and I would equally apply this to all Australians that we represent. My parents instilled in us the values of having respect for others, having integrity, trusting others and accepting responsibility for our actions and decisions. We were taught that our word was to be our bond, and that prevails. However, life experiences teach you to be much more astute to those who have ulterior motives based on personal gain.